Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast. Today we have a very special episode for you guys today. We have Cedric, Ware, and Byron Mitchell with us today. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
I'm doing amazing. I'm feeling great.
Hey, that is good to hear. And we are finally following up our, what did we do, top 5 Power Ranger series last time?
Yes.
I think it was 5. So now we are following it up finally with our top 10 Power Rangers. Each of us have our list of who we think are the top 10 Power Rangers. These are our personal lists, and I'm interested to see how many crossovers we have of who's on everyone's list, who got left out, and we're going to go from there and have a good time. So we're going to start off, since he was the one taking his time. Byron, you are going to go first with your list and go from 10 through 1.
Okay. You want me to explain each as I go along?
Yeah, if you want to. If you have something for me, yeah.
All right. So number 10, I have Adam Park, the Black Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The reason I put him at number 10 is because he's one of the longest tenured Power Rangers after Zach left for the Peace Conference, serving until he retired in Turbo. He has also made appearances in space in Operation Overdrive. He was hand-chosen by the Sentinel Knight after the Overdrive Rangers lost their powers, and he was a leader of a Ranger team for like 2 episodes, and he's like one of my favorite Rangers, so that's why I put him at number 10. Number 9, I have Carter Grayson, the Red Ranger from Lightspeed Rescue. He was the world's best firefighter, which is why one of the reasons he was chosen to become the Red Ranger. He's selfless and courageous, and he never really took days off, and was a stickler for the rules. So he was a good leader of the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers. Number 8, I have Wes, the Red Time Force Ranger. When the Time Force Rangers got stuck in the past, they needed him to activate their morphers because he was genetically linked to Alex, the original Red Ranger. He was kind and just and never gave up in any situation when he became the leader of the Red Rangers. Number 7 is probably the wooziest on the list. Number 7, I have Doggy Cruiser. He was chief of the SPD who handpicked the Rangers. He then becomes a Shadow Ranger halfway through the season. In his first fight, he beat up like 100 goons all by himself. He was honorable and willing to do whatever it takes. Number 6, I have Mike Corbett, the Magna Defender. He originally pulled a red Quasar Saber out of the stone, then gave it to his brother Leo. Then he was chosen to become the Magna Defender after the first one sacrifices himself to save Terra Venture. He was destined to become a Ranger from the beginning. So that's why I have him as number 6. Number 5, I have Eric Myers, a Red Quantum Ranger. He was about the mission and didn't play around. He basically took the Quantum Morpher for himself and then fought the villains and Time Force Rangers to control the Quantosaurus Rex Zord. He eventually gains the respect of the other Rangers. Number 4, I have Andros, the Red Space Ranger. He grew as a leader throughout the In Space series from being a loner to a team player. He was able to infiltrate a group of villains to learn about their plans. He ultimately agreed to destroy Zordon to save the universe. He also has telekinesis powers, which he rarely uses. Number 3, I have TJ Johnson, the Red Turbo Ranger. He was handpicked by Tommy to be the next Red Turbo Ranger. He was chosen for his bravery, among other qualities. Then in space, he gets demoted to being the Blue Ranger because Andros was the Red Ranger.
Demoted.
I mean, was he not demoted?
I love that he's like number 3. You're like,
Demoted.
Yeah, Vegas demoted.
Oh, man. You're right. That was just so funny.
He was a great leader. Being the Red Turbo Ranger, and he was a great second in command.
Byron, hold on, you can't say great leader, then say demoted.
He's my number 3. This is my list.
Oh, Stephen A., this is my list. I wasn't expecting that.
Like, I didn't expect you to bring up the fact that he got demoted. Like,
Oh, shit. Go ahead, man.
His history as a Ranger. Then he comes back as a Red Turbo Ranger in the Forever Red crossover episode. So that's why he's number 3.
Okay.
Number 2. Number 2 and 1 can be switched. But number 2, I have Jason Lee Scott. He's an OG Red Ranger. He came back as a Go Ranger Zeo. He's a great leader who excels at his job of being a Ranger. And then number 1, Tommy Oliver. He's one of the GOATs. He's appeared in multiple shows and some of the movies. He was never originally meant to stay around after his stint as a Green Ranger, but the fans kept sending Saban letters, so they had to bring him back. He's a great leader. He's a great teacher. Also teaching the Dino Thunder Rangers how to become Rangers. So that is why I have him as number 1.
I need to do that with wrestling. For wrestlers going, I'm about to just start sending letters, crying, saying I want him back.
John Cena.
If it works with Tommy, I'm about to do the same thing. And good on you bringing that point up, because Cedric brought that point up on our first Power Rangers thing about how that man wasn't supposed to be there for that long. And kids were really out there sad.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob, I don't know if Jacob's going to let you be sending those letters. You should ask him how you feel about that.
So just to go over yours, Byron, you had Adam at 10, Carter at 9, Wes at 8, Doggy Kruger
at
7, Mike at 6, Eric at 5, Andros at 4, TJ at 3, Jason at 2, Tommy at 1.
Yep.
Okay. Cedric, do you want to go?
Sure. I do have an honorable mention.
Hey.
I have a Kendricks Morgan. She was Lost Galaxy original Pink Ranger. I have her as an honorable mention because her character actually left the show because the actress had leukemia. Mm-hmm. But in the show, she does a very heroic thing of sacrificing herself to kind of save the team and then passes on her power. I think that's something that, as far as Rangers teams, you see rarely as throughout the whole Power Rangers series, and I guess they said like Rangers don't stay for the whole season. It's very rare that they pass on their powers, and normally it's like a change in choice or life status, but this person literally sacrificed themselves on the show, so I had to put her as an honorable mention to lay down your life in the ultimate goal of protecting the universe and the world. My number 10 is Robert James, or RJ. He's the Purple Wolf Ranger from Jungle Fury. I've been there. A lot of people may not know him as well. His father is actually like a martial arts master, is also a ranger, is a shark ranger that they take the spear from to use to fight against the Rangers in the show. The reason I chose RJ is he's kind of like a young master in his own right, and he gains a team of what he thought was originally going to be well-experienced martial artists. He ends up being essentially the main mentor to Casey, who was kind of just now starting the martial arts path because the original intended leader got possessed by Daishi. So it wasn't really like planned on until I believe it was Jared got possessed, and it was intended that he was the Lion Spirit, was going to be the leader of the team. And so I guess I gave him more props to be in my list because you have those intended individuals, you had to put in extra work and everything because it's more of a mentoring process now when you have that person who's, as we all know, the Red Ranger is supposed to be the leader of the team.
Well, not after just watching Mystic Force. Trash.
He gets better though. Nick does.
Yeah, but
Nick has identity issues. We'll get into that some other time. But
trash.
he didn't make the list, so it doesn't really even matter. My number 9 is Cole Evans. Some people know this. I am a big fan of Wild Force as a season, the series itself, and Power Rangers. I picked Cole mainly because of his. I believe he's like the last one to have the last and first one to have like a Forever Red was his episode where we start to see like all the past Red Rangers, and they even like gave him props even though he was a rookie. It's like you saved the world, like even upon us who answered the call of being the Red Ranger, and he gained a lot of respect and props from others. My number 8 is Eric Myers, Quantum Ranger. I won't go into too much detail because Byron mentioned him in his list. My number 7 is Carter Grayson, Lightspeed Red. Same things, similar to what Byron said. My number 6 is kind of an interesting one. It's Billy Cranston from the Power Rangers movie. If you have not seen the Power Rangers movie, if you watch it, normally when individuals saw the movie, they thought like, oh, Jason Lee Scott's going to be like the person that saves it all. In my opinion, and I know me and Martin have talked about this, I know Byron has talked about this with us as well. This, like, Billy is the arguably like best character out of that movie. He figures out the plan, where Rita's going to dig up the energy crystal to try to revive Goldar and power up Goldar. Not to mention, at the beginning, he finds the power coins first. Like, he's the first one to find the power coins that gave all the Rangers the powers. And he's kind of what united the team to enter the morphing grid and be able to morph fully into Rangers. So I have to give him a lot of credit. Even being someone who was bullied, is on the spectrum, he's an honest person, an honest, lovable character in the movie, so I had to put him as my number 6. My number 5 is Jennifer Scotts, or Jen Scotts, a Time Force Ranger. I picked her mainly because it's rare that we see at the start of a show that the intended leader of the group, like I said, like, just not be there. Like Byron mentioned Lost Galaxy, where the brother sacrificed himself for his younger brother, Leo. And then Leo was told to take up the mantle. I think with this one, her fiance sacrificed herself in fighting the main criminal to catch him and laid his life on the line. And so when they went back in time to try to catch him again, she was kind of the de facto leader at that point in time because they did not have a Red Ranger. And even when they picked up Wes, her ability to like still be a speaking voice and leader in the group, I think speaks volumes to her qualities as a Ranger, and that's why she's my number 5. My number 4 is Adam Park. I have Adam Park in there, like Byron said, for his multiple role in different Ranger universes. I also have him in there because he plays a very distinct mentor role. Like, we do see like a lot of crossover episodes that happen with Rangers, but it's never so much engaged as, let me teach you how to use your Ranger powers. It's normally like, we're here to team up with you because we have a similar interest, a similar villain in mind to save the world. But Adam really comes in a lot of times like, let me show you, especially with his time with Carlos, let me show you how to essentially be a Ranger and what it is to be a Ranger. My number 3 is Andros. I think, and to my memory, off the top of my head right now, I'm trying to think if there are other series where that individual is the solo Ranger at the beginning, like your Red Ranger is the solo Ranger by himself, and then picks up a team. I can't think of one. If there is one out there, guys, let me know. Honestly, because like Byron said in his, I guess, statement about TJ's history, not only that, but you have Andros. Because I mean, we see like there are times when there's a challenge for power. I mean, we see with SPD when they bring in their Red Ranger, the Blue Ranger was like, "No, I was supposed to be the Red Ranger. My father was a Red Ranger. I don't have to listen to you." And like power struggles where you bring that outside force into the team, there's always sometimes like some type of question about chemistry. But with Andros, it was, in my opinion, it was kind of clear from the start. It's like, TJ, I'm number 1. You're number 2. We got this settled. I understand that this was your team. With me, this is my team, type of thing. And plus, being a trusted agent for Zordon and being essentially a spy on his own, I think speaks volumes to his ability as a Ranger. My number 1 and 2 are not necessarily interchangeable. Personally, I have number 2 as Jason Lee Scott, the original Red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. I have him as number 2 while he comes back in Zeo as the Gold Ranger. And we don't really see him too often until we have like the Dimensional Rift with, I believe, like the newest series.
Yeah, he
had him come back. But I speak volumes as far as his time with Mighty Morphin. I mean, like this was a pilot idea essentially. Like this was a test idea for Saban. They didn't expect this show to be as popular as it was.
Mm-hmm.
So when they had him in mind, they thought this was just going to be the season. We're going to be done. They didn't expect this individual in this cast and him as the leader to get so many people and children at that point in time big fans of this show and then so involved in the show. So I have to give props to the original leader of the group that got this show in this series as, I guess, popular and fruitful as it has been throughout time.
Mm-hmm.
My number one is Tommy Oliver. Not just because he's my favorite Ranger, but mainly because when you look at, I guess, across the board as well, I give him props for coming back in Dino Thunder as that mentoring role. Because as you see with a lot of Rangers, when they first get their powers, unless there is that head person like a Zordon or a Doggy Kruger,
mm-hmm.
or sometimes military organizations or police organizations to kind of explain what's going on, they're kind of confused and lost and they don't really know what to do. So there's always that like mentoring person. And it's rare that it is a previous Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone that can truly relate to like the initial feelings you have. Normally we have someone who's like, you listen, like your initial feelings are understood, but you have to go above and beyond because you now protect this world. Like we need you to simply accept the mission and go out there and do it. Where I feel like with Tommy as his role with Dino Thunder is like, listen, like I can speak to you not only as that, but as a personal level where it's like, I've been in your shoes. I know exactly what you're feeling, exactly what you're going through. And then to me, it was a surprise that he became the Black Ranger in that show. I did not see that coming when I was watching it. As a younger kid, like I honestly thought, oh, there's just going to be someone else. But I think that also the ability to like be a Ranger still and lead by example so like they don't see just like, oh, those words back in your day. It's like, oh, we see what it is to be a Ranger when we see Tommy suit up again as the Black Ranger in Dino Thunder. And also just his cameo appearances throughout in his crossovers, coming back to be not only the Green Ranger, the White Ranger, the Red Zeo Ranger, and the ability to be the Red Turbo Ranger, because he has been all four of those roles before. I think that I have him as my number one, mainly because he has held so many leadership roles in his time as a Power Ranger. I think the only time he wasn't like the de facto leader of the group, I would argue, is Dino Thunder, where he does kind of take like that mentoring role and allow that Red Ranger to kind of like grow into his own. He doesn't like, it's like, this is my team type of situation, where that and like maybe Mighty Morphin Green when he is an asset to the team, but once Jason is gone, that, in my opinion, that is Tommy's team.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the de facto leader of Zeo, and he leads into Turbo as well.
Mm-hmm. So you had number 10, you had RJ. Number 9, you had Cole. Number 8, Eric. Number 7, Carter. Number 6, Billy from the Power Ranger 2017 movie. Number 5, Jen. Number 4, Adam. Number 3, Andros. Number 2, Jason. And number 1, Tommy.
Correct.
Okay, no.
Actually, I almost put RJ on my list too.
RJ? All
One of my
right.
favorites.
My turn. So I know. I printed mine out. So I printed 3 through 10 on one sheet and then 1 and 2 on the other because I was having computer problems.
I like you had to mention Frankie doors out.
Hey, I mean, if Byron can talk about someone getting demoted, I could bring up computer problems.
None of them pretty much. Byron typed his on his computer.
That's true. I use proper names too. Well,
proper names.
I know my list is gonna. It might be woozy like Byron's. We'll see. I don't actually think
Did
Cedric.
you pick anyone demoted?
Yeah. So my number 10 is actually Lieutenant Taylor Earnhardt, the yellow Eagle Ranger from Wild Force.
Okay.
That's a good one.
The reason I picked her is before Cole got there, she was actually the leader. So she was actually the first Yellow Ranger to be the leader. So she was in second command of Cole. And she was about the mission too. And then her little flirtatious relationship with the Quantum Ranger, I found that interesting. But I had her number 10. Number 9, I had TJ Theodore J. Jarvis Johnson at number 9 because I'm just going to... as a young kid, I didn't think we were ever going to have a Black Red Ranger. I'm just going to be honest.
Yep.
So that alone, I think, deserves to be, and TJ deserves to be on some people's list, honorable mention, top 10. And he didn't get the biggest, like, when Tommy passed it on to him, the show writers, I don't know, they just weren't that great then. But then he was the first Black Red Ranger. Then he went to In Space and was a fantastic Blue Ranger. Mm-hmm. He was really good. And like Byron said, he was a Red Ranger in Forever Red. So it showed that he could be a leader and he could be in second in command. And his former team obviously respects him. And Andros grew to respect him. So he was my number 9. Number 8, I had Ryan Mitchell, the Titanium Ranger from Lightspeed Rescue. Okay. And I'm just going to simply say, because he was hard. That's the only reason. Like, when I liked his suit. I liked his weapons. The man can fight. His story about when he was a kid and his dad saying, oh, save my son, blah, blah, blah. I just like him a lot. And that's why I had him at number 8. Number 7, I actually had Wes, the Time Force Red Ranger. And the reason I had him at 7 is because to that point, the Red Ranger was typically always sweet. Yes. And a leader to start. He was the first Red Ranger you actually see grow, I think at that point, grow from spoiled rich kid, gets humbled, becomes a good leader. And it shows volumes when that Time Force team, when they were with the original Red Ranger, and they're like, oh, I wish Wes was here. And it showed how much Wes grew. So seeing that development from a Red Ranger, I think was really cool for number 7. Number 6, I actually have Billy Cranston. I have the original Billy Cranston just because I really like the smart tech people who can think yourselves out of situations just from hindsight. Like, I really like Izzy from Digimon. And I feel like those two are very similar. And at that point, he was the one making the gadgets. He made the wrist communicators. And I really liked Billy too, the OG Blue Ranger. But Cedric throwing that curveball about the movie one, I might have to switch those out because that was really cool. My number 5 is actually the same as Cedric's. I had Officer Jen Scotts because she was a Time Force Pink Ranger and she was the leader, and then co-leader, second in command once Wes got his stuff together. And then from representation, it's the first time you see a girl leading a team. And she was strong, she was independent, she could hold her own, she commanded respect from her team and her opponents. So I really liked her. Number 4, I had Andros, the Red Space Ranger from Power Rangers in Space. The reason I had him, I think personally he had the best introduction and best finish. Because if you remember how he got introduced, he's in that meeting with all the villains, and they're just talking about how they messed stuff up on Earth. Yep. They blew it up, and you see him as that, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then also at the end where he's the one who has to kill Zordon, and also the Countdown to Destruction Part 1 and 2 are I think my favorite episodes of all time. So the start to finish, I think were really cool. Also, he redeemed his sister, Astronema. Uh-huh. He also got with the yellow in Space Ranger, and she's top notch. So, and he could fight. He could do all the things. He had telekinesis, like Byron said. He also, that Byron forgot, he's the first Red Ranger to have a battleizer. Yep. He started the trend. Yep. Number 3, I had Adam, and I said Countdown to Destruction was my favorite episodes. My probably third one is actually Adam teaching Carlos how to be a Power Ranger, because that episode was really good. And he's coming in being the Black Ranger on Mighty Morphin, Zeo Ranger Green, the first Green Turbo Ranger, and he was second in command on that Turbo team behind Tommy. Yes. And he was the third longest serving Ranger actually behind Tommy and Billy. And I just felt like a lot of people don't give him the respect he deserves, and he's been a long-serving Ranger, and he's been a mentor, and he can throw down too. So he was my number 3. My number 2 was Jason Lee Scott. Everyone knows he's my personal favorite. He's the reason red's my favorite color. Being a kid, the OG Red Ranger, the original leader of the team. And also, when he comes back, the Gold Ranger. Then when he comes back in the cameos now in the 2020s as the Red Ranger again. He was a great leader. He could one of the few Rangers who can actually fight in morph, without morph. Seeing that dynamic as him come as a leader, then coming back and being second in command on Zeo to Tommy's. There's even a snippet at the end of Golden Homecoming. Jason's telling me, hey, this is your team. I thought that was really cool. And he's my personal favorite, but objectively, I think he's the second greatest Ranger of all time. And then number one is the same number one everyone else has had, Tommy Oliver. Well, Dr. Tommy Oliver. The guy's I mean, the guy served on 4 teams, Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo, Dino Thunder. He's probably, from the original Rangers, he's definitely been in the most episodes. We've already talked about how his Green Ranger really set the standard for every 6th Ranger going forward. And just also, not even just Tommy, his actor, Jason Dibb Frank, he is the perfect representation of Power Rangers, like promoting the brand, doing all the Morphicons and things like that. And that's why, I mean, everyone loves Tommy, because the actor is Tommy. He really promotes it out there. So I had him as my number one. Also, his jump spin kick, iconic.
Yeah.
The double.
Yeah, the double jump spin kick.
Because he goes up, down.
Mm-hmm. Like that was super iconic. So that,
the corkscrew kick, sorry.
Yeah. So that was my top 10. So just going through, now just looking at everyone else's ones. First with Byron, you had no girls.
I am going to say this. Byron spent a lot of time.
He did. I was just saying. I was like, but no, Jen. Jen doesn't make the cut.
She's up there.
Oh,
wow! You really just wow!
I'm just looking through the list. I'm going to compare.
You saw Byron's sex. Byron, where's the girls?
No, I was just wondering because Cedric, we had the same top 5, just
different order.
Andros and Adam were flipped.
Yep.
And it's kind of crazy because everyone knows this guy is like my second favorite Ranger. I didn't have Eric on my list.
And I did.
I know.
Wait, how about that?
I almost put Wild Force Yellow on my list, but then I would have had to. I felt like in my mind I was like, if I put Cole on my list and I put her on my list, and I have to put Cole higher. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not pulling Cole higher than number 9.
Yeah, and actually, because Cedric too, we had the same number 6, just different versions of Billy, and then Byron, you had Andros in your top 4. We had him in our top 5. We all had the same 1 and 2. Byron, you had Quantum Ranger. You had the Mag Defender, which that was really cool. But I just have a question. Adam.
What about Adam?
Why he at like number 9?
No, he's at number 10.
Oh, dang.
You don't think Adam's better than Carter?
I'll ask you this, Byron. This is a harder question.
Okay.
Without the Battleizer, who would win in their fight?
Whoa.
Probably Adam.
Oh, well.
I mean, it's up there. I mean, Carter is taller than Adam.
Carter's that really bad. He's a stickler for rules. I didn't have him, even though I like him a lot. I actually but I went with Titanium Power. So,
and I put him in there because of his exploits outside of as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie, Cedric. That honorable mention, Kendrick. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great one.
That was smooth, but no, I mean everyone had the same top 2, top times.
Because I mean, she had to deal with the same thing that Jen kind of had to deal with Leo, because the original leader of the group was the one who became the Quantum Defender. Which, oddly enough, he was possessed by the Quantum Defender for a little while. Was Leo, and no one knew if Leo could actually cut it as a quote-unquote leader of the Power Rangers. So she essentially was there as well to help out with getting him prepared to be the leader.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just giving Byron grief. I actually have no problem with everyone's list.
Really?
Byron, I'm not gonna lie, when Adam was 10, I was shocked because I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a list."
I tried to warn you.
Hey,
I was truly curious. I was like, after that, I was like, I wonder what's gonna happen.
I already knew your list was about to be something. I was ready. I was sitting up, ears perched. I said, Adam at 10.
I feel like Doggy Cruiser is probably the wooziest one on the list.
I mean, I'm not get it. Oh, it's just Adam. Switch him. You could have switched Adam with Doggy.
I could have.
I mean,
when Doggy Kruger did become a ranger, I was really shocked. I was like, this person might have an animalized ranger. This is interesting.
Yeah.
And then I just like how I rave about Eric, but I didn't have him on the list.
Right.
You know, he's not.
Listen, I honestly thought you would.
He's sweet.
He's
In your
sweet.
mind, it's like he's not a great ranger. Because I mean, honestly, he's not a great team player. If it's like contrary to what he honestly believes, it is difficult for him.
Yeah.
But once if you got him on, like, if you're on the same side, you guys are on the same page, he goes balls to the wall for the mission. Like,
oh yeah, don't get it twisted. He is one of my favorites, just not in the top.
I remember the reaction you had last time I talked about him on the
well, yeah, I mean, I defend my favorites. This isn't my favorite list because then this would have been switched up favorites. I almost actually. Honorable mention, because you brought up that. I almost put Catherine.
I thought about Catherine.
I thought about Catherine.
I thought about Catherine and honestly Tanya.
I thought about Kimberly too.
I thought.
Listen, my favorite ranger being Tommy. I personally have things on that Kimberly
I know.
My list, but I can see why.
Yeah, I know.
She has like that iconic line that they took over in Megaforce. They said the same thing. It's like, this helmet is going to mess up my hair. So I can't be a ranger.
No, I thought about Catherine. I almost put her at 10. But I was like, no, I'll go Wild Force. Kendrick, I should have thought of her now. Now I'm just thinking about her stuff. But no, these were good lists. Anything else you guys want to say about lists? I mean, shoot, Byron, you didn't ask me about my list. Anything you want to ask me about?
I feel like you explained your list thoroughly.
Oh, I mean, I was just coming at you about Adam.
I know. I mean,
or Cedric, did you have any questions?
I probably should have had Adam higher.
No, it's okay. It's your list, like you said.
I guess when you mentioned Billy Cranston from Mighty Morphin, you mentioned his involvement.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drawing a blank because he was, to my recollection, he was only the Mighty Morphin Blue Ranger. Like, he didn't serve in Zeo. There was like hints that he was going to be the Gold Ranger.
Yeah, they nipped that in the bud.
Because they got Jason to come back. So like, but outside of that, like, he was there tech wise. Like, I get it, like 110%.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. But like you mentioned, like, I guess in my mind, if I was thinking along those lines, I probably would have put Cam in from Ninja Storm. Because he essentially did the exact same role that Billy did, except for he became a ranger later.
No, I agree. Yeah, it was just mostly for the tech stuff. Like, he was always, I mean, from that to Zeo, and I guess he showed up later on in Megaforce or something. That's what the site said, so I'm going off that. So, I don't remember the episode, but they did, and I was like, bro, how is he ranked in the top longest standing? I was like, he was like one ranger, and I almost put, because we were just talking about him, I almost put the White Ranger from Dino Thunder, because he is hard too. That was my number. My 8 was like, I'm just going to pick somebody hard. So, that's what I decided. I was like, and I'm just like.
I mean, I almost put in Merrick.
Oh, no.
My reasoning, this is the thing, like, I was really sitting there, I was like, the reason I would put in it is because he was Zanaku. Nothing to do with like the fact that like him becoming Ranger, they didn't have to deal with Zanaku anymore. Like, he wasn't stealing their Zords anymore. That's the only reason why he's in the list.
I'm gonna lie. If we ever do top villains, Zanaku's top 3.
Yes.
Top 3, easy, easy. No lower than 3, if that. Might be no lower than 2. But no, that's really it. Our top 10 Power Rangers in the Power Ranger franchise. Byron, Cedric, any other words you guys want to say?
I know I took a long time because picking top 10 is hard. I gotta look at the long list of every Ranger that's ever been and gotta figure out like what makes them top 10. So this was a difficult list for me. I don't know about you guys.
Oh yeah, I mean this was hard, but since you're taking this time, spoiler alert, next time we come back, we're gonna do top 10 Megazords. So now you already have the time in the world to study.
That's gonna be terrible. That's gonna be terrible.
So now you can study it up. Cedric, you got any last words you want to say for the listeners out there?
Like making this list was hard, but making the Megazord list is gonna be even worse. Like I'm not even like. I don't really look forward to like this stuff. It's like, oh yeah, Machado's coming back. Like I get to like actually think about this stuff. Now the Megazord's like, man, this is gonna be hard.
I gotta rewatch some episodes.
Hey, no.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's
like,
gonna be hard.
And half these Zords get destroyed. Like, I don't even know if I can call you a great Megazord if you're getting destroyed.
Facts.
Yeah. No,
like, sometimes you got like just the Rangers. Like I still remember when Tommy hopped up in that Megazord, knocked them all out the Zord. I was like, it's not the Megazord's fault that they can't sit in there and still fight. Like,
really jade their own Megazord.
Bro,
well, he ain't jade them. There was more of them than him. He really rolled up on sight. So like, I don't care where you are, I will see you, and we are throwing hands.
I need those Rita steroids. I need that evil flowing through me because we're just hopping in Megazord, just fighting everybody. I'll never forget too. Where he's like, "Well, I'm gonna destroy you, Pink Ranger," and he said that out loud. I was like, "Oh, damn, you just outed her!" Like in the hallway. I'm like, "Dang, bro!" But nah, you're right. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time, especially doing top 10 lists with Power Rangers is super duper fun. But with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to L7C podcast. Let us know what your top 10 Power Ranger lists are. Write a comment on YouTube. This will be up on YouTube or on Spotify, Apple Music, anything like that. Or tweet at us at the L7C. We always post every podcast, so just comment below on what your top 10 Rangers are. Want to hear from you guys. Want to hear if you have some interesting Ranger lists so that we can compare and contrast. And with that being said, thank you guys for listening to the L7C. You guys take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.